Jerusalem has long been the focal point of the still unsolved problem of Palestine. Although in times of comparative peace, Jews and Arabs live side by side and go about their business in the old city of Jerusalem with apparent calm, beneath the surface, bitter enmity has continued to smolder for years. This is the Wailing Wall, where many Jews have been offering special prayers following the latest outrage by terrorists. And these are scenes in the modern part of the city, contrasting vividly with the old Jerusalem. The King David Hotel itself. It was in the wing on the right of the picture that the terrorists placed their explosive. And the result of the crime, the tragic scene, is like a serious incident during the Blitz. The hotel housed the British Army headquarters and the Palestine government offices, and casualties were very heavy. 65 deaths are reported, and there is little or no hope of survival for any of the 58 missing. Nearly 50 others were injured. The Jewish terrorist organization, Irgun Tzvai Leumi, openly admitted responsibility for the bombing. Many arrests have been made. Leaders of the Jewish agency have expressed horror at the dastardly crime perpetrated by a gang of desperados. Mr. Attlee in the House of Commons declared, the British government will not be diverted by acts of violence in their search for a just and final solution of the Palestine problem. President Truman, condemning the wanton act of terrorism, added that America and Britain are conferring on steps to be taken to implement the report of the Anglo-American Palestine Committee. Undoubtedly, the people of Britain anxiously wait for the announcement of a policy which will prevent the loss of any more innocent lives.
On June 8, 1964, Israel deliberately attacked an American intelligence ship, the USS Liberty. At about 2 p.m. that day, 2 Israeli Mirage 3s attacked the Liberty with cannon and rockets, and just few minutes later, 2 Mysteers dropped napalm bombs due to which ship caught fire, and then at 2:35 p.m., Israeli torpedo motor boats fired 5 torpedoes, out of which 1 struck. This attack killed 34 crew members and wounded 171 others. Israel apologized, saying it mistakenly thought that the USS Liberty was an Egyptian ship, but survivors rejected the Israeli statement and claimed that the attack was on purpose, and they were right, because Israelis first identified the Liberty as a US ship at about 5:15 a.m. that morning. 7 other reconnaissance flights also confirmed the identity of Liberty. During attack, the ship attempted to contact the 6th Fleet, but Israelis were jamming their distress frequencies. According to victims, a huge American flag was waving at the top of the ship, so there was no chance of any mistake. The Lavan affair was a failed Israeli covert operation, codenamed Operation Susanna, conducted in Egypt in the summer of 1954. As part of the false flag operation, a group of Egyptian Jews were recruited by Israeli military intelligence to plant bombs inside Egyptian American and British-owned civilian targets, cinemas, libraries, and American educational centers. The bombs were timed to detonate several hours after closing time. The attacks were to be blamed on the Muslim Brotherhood, Egyptian communists, unspecified malcontents, or local nationalists with the aim of creating a climate of sufficient violence and instability to induce the British government to retain its occupying troops in Egypt's Suez Canal zone. The operation caused no casualties among the population, but cost the lives of 4 operatives, 2 cell members who committed suicide after being captured, and 2 operatives who were tried, convicted, and executed by the Egyptian authorities. The operation ultimately became known as the Lavan Affair after the Israeli Defense Minister Pinhas Lavin, who was forced to resign as a consequence of the incident.
Security against any surprise attack agreed with an Israeli request to stop the distribution of a book that contains some pretty damning information about the Israeli Secret Service, the Mossad, if it is true. Here's ABC's John Martin.
The most sensational claim in the book involves this bloody day, the Beirut Marine Barracks bombing. The book says Israeli agents kept vital information from U.S. Marines that might have saved the lives of 241 Americans killed here. Israeli government sources deny this account, but according to the book, an Israeli informant saw a Mercedes truck being fitted with secret panels for explosives. Israeli troops were told to be on the lookout for the truck, but the book says the Israelis intentionally gave the Americans only a vague warning, not mentioning the kind or size of vehicle. The book says Israeli intelligence was willing to let the terrorists succeed to protect their sources and out of contempt for U.S. intelligence. It says agents withheld information on U.S. hostages for similar reasons. In Toronto today, the author was under a court-ordered gag not to discuss the book or the case.
You see, there's two restrictions. There's one restriction that I can't talk about what I learned or have done in the Mossad, and the other restriction is I cannot talk about anything that's in the book.
Israeli officials confirm that Viktor Ostrovsky worked for the Mossad in the 1980s. Alarmed by the contents of the book, they got it temporarily blocked in Canada and the United States.
It's the position of the Israeli government that the information contained in the book could very well lead to the identification of employees of the Mossad and could jeopardize their lives.
But the book's introduction says it does not name active agents and gives only initials. It does say that more than 24 senior Israeli agents routinely gather intelligence in the United States. Late today, the book was put out for sale in New York after the court lifted its restraining order. The publishers claimed victory, but the Israeli embassy said it will still pursue its action against the author. John Martin, ABC News, Washington.
الإسرائيليون الصهاينة اليهود يريدون أن يقولوا للعالم بكله وللمسلمين نحن نستطيع أن نعمل تفجيراً بمتفجرات أو نضرب بصاروخ أو نستجلب موادا أو نجمعها في مكان معين ونجعلهم انفجاراً كالذي حصل في ناجازاكي أو هيروشيما. تفجير كبير جداً الذي حصل في لبنان.
They're planning on tactical nukes on certain cities. Pre-planned, all pre-planned. Not all cities, but major cities.
Whoa!
ثم ما يكون بعد ذلك ثم يكون بعد ذلك يا عرب يا مسلمين تطبيع معنا مع الصهاينة وإلا فسنفجر في كل مكان. الصهيونية التي أوجدت داعش، التي أوجدت القاعدة، التي أوجدت التكفيريين الذين كانوا يفجرون في كل مكان، هي اليوم الصهيونية التي تفجر. التفجير هو التفجير. تفجير 11 من سبتمبر، تفجير 2001، تفجير المدمرة كول في اليمن، التفجيرات التي حصلت في اليمن في المساجد.
I wish I could say I was shocked to find out that Israel's techno-dystopia is testing out remote-controlled guns with AI tracking systems on civilians in the West Bank. They've just installed one in Haida refugee camp pointing directly at the entrance to the Palestinian neighborhood. This same spot where an Israeli sniper shot dead a 13-year-old boy and regularly fires at kids. I guess Israel's massive wall, armored military jeeps, snipers, foot soldiers, and 6 watchtowers surrounding the area just wasn't enough defense against the scary Palestinian kids with rocks.
When the ICC investigates Israel for fake war crimes, this is pure anti-Semitism. The court established to prevent atrocities like the Nazi Holocaust against the Jewish people is now targeting the one state of the Jewish people. First, it outrageously claims that when Jews live in our homeland, This is a war crime. Second, it claims that when democratic Israel defends itself against terrorists who murder our children, rocket our cities, we're committing another war crime. Yet the ICC refuses to investigate brutal dictatorships like Iran and Syria, who commit horrific atrocities almost daily. As Prime Minister of Israel, I assure you, we will fight this perversion of justice with all our might.